In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across me is the one and only Cash Kraus. Guys, go check out our Instagram page, Have You Seen It podcast, Twitter, Seen It podcast, Facebook, Have You Seen It podcast. And go check out our merch store, guys. You can find our podcast.
You were saying that like someone
Spotify.
has a gun to your head. Please, coach.
Please do it. If they don't, they will kill me.
I need you to
They've
up
already confirmed.
the energy a little bit. Guys, please. If I don't make a sale, if you don't buy a mug, they're going to kill my family. Please.
Well, you know, I like to burn through it so we can get to the actual
but
film
it's
of what
a little
we're
monotone
doing.
for my days. I'm gonna fall asleep before you get.
I think what I might do from now on, I might do a pre-recording, and then we can just do that. I can be all uppity up. Hey guys, what's up? I'll be one of those YouTubers.
Rather than put people to sleep right at the start of the podcast.
Right, of course. And then we put them to sleep at the end of the podcast. Have you seen those YouTubers though? Like, oh, what's up, guys? My name is, and I'm like, oh my god, bro. And it's every video. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how you have that much energy in
cocaine.
life. A lot of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine. They live in L.A. You know, those Holly weirdos.
Yep.
You know what they call them.
Oh, yeah.
They're not straight edge like us.
Children younger and younger to the cocoa.
But, yeah, we'll probably have to, maybe we'll have to pay someone to do a little recording.
Yeah. Maybe Chuck Fresh himself. Whoa.
Never heard that name before.
Maybe send Chuck some merch.
I hope he's doing okay.
So do I.
In these troubled times. I hope he's doing okay.
Well, you know, I mean, he does have the perfect job being a voiceover artist.
Yeah.
He can work from home.
Yeah, but I think he lives in California. Is that what he said? And the fires, I hope.
I hope it didn't affect Chuck Fresh. Yeah. Because that'll make us real upset.
But if that man calls you 911 and he's doing his Chuck Fresh voice, you know, he's doing the
think
movie voice, you're like, oh my God, this is great. Why his entire livelihood burns down around him. Yeah.
But the voice is still
trouble
so
about it. It's
angelic.
so silky smooth. It's silky smooth. But,
man's a legend.
But yeah, go check out the merch store.
Oh, yeah.
Another mug. It's only on one side,
only
so I
on
have to go
one side.
right-handed.
There you go. Oh, still no water in the cup.
Still no water. I'm still not
Great
that great of an
acting.
actor. Yeah, I'm still not selling it. But yeah, go check out the merch store. It's up. You have a sweatshirt on.
I do, yeah.
Looking
this
good.
Is the actual, logo and everything.
Yeah.
It's got our podcast thing on the back too.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'll show you it after.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, that does it.
Instagram, YouTube, follow all that bullshit.
All that shit.
You know what we do.
You guys
but
know.
We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some new movie because it is New Movie Monday. Am I correct?
Yeah, New Movie Monday.
Okay, New Movie Monday.
That's,
just check. It's been a wild week.
It has been.
So
It's
I'm
been
not
a
sure
weird
what
one.
day we're
Yeah.
at. But New Movie Monday, an exciting movie. We are carrying over the haunted theme from October into the early, because November, people don't talk about it. November's kind of scary. It's a scary month.
Well,
it's a winter.
especially-
Everything's dying.
Yes.
Especially election season. Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, that's
it's a hot take.
The hot take. It is a hot take.
Mason always on that political.
Well, it's 2020, as if things couldn't get crazy enough. Can we just have one thing that's simple in 2020?
No.
Please, for the love of God, one thing
I hear
that just doesn't go to absolute shit.
I hear we're in for a crazy winter, too.
Oh, we are.
So
we are. It's
So
what's
that-
known as
yeah.
a dark winter. Go get your TP. Go get your food supplies. God.
I can't.
And I'm being facetious on that.
Yeah,
but people
please
just
do
gotta
not rush to the
no,
store.
Please
Get
don't.
TP.
Things are going to be fine.
Because grandparents are
Everything's gonna be all right.
shitting their pants because they don't
They-
have any
They
fucking
need
toilet paper. Yeah.
It's a problem because they have nothing to clean
And they can't
themselves
leave the
up
house.
with.
They can't leave the house. So,
Oh,
but yeah, we are carrying over the theme. I'm so glad because we missed this one in October, but I'm so glad we're getting into it now. The Netflix film, His House.
And wow, did this film come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I saw the trailer like 3 weeks ago because I swear it's Netflix, esque. They released the trailer a week before the movie premiered.
That's just what they do.
So I completely forgot about it. But yeah, out of nowhere, and I was completely unprepared. I thought I was gonna like this film, but I ended up loving this fucking movie.
You guys know, if you've listened to the podcast for years, like I've brought this up so many times, it takes a lot to really scare me in a movie, just because like I know how the process is. Horror films don't scare me like typically, but I love them. I love horror. This film genuinely scared me. I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time in this movie, and just everything about it was knock out of the park, man. I mean, this movie fucking kicked ass.
Yeah,
in the horror department. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like,
I'm kind of in the realm with horror films. It doesn't have to be over the top scary. It's a horror film is more about, the film with the people in a horror setting, so it's a film about the people, and it doesn't, but this film delivered on both the human aspect of it, the drama, and it is the best film I've seen on immigration ever.
Absolutely.
It encompasses just the fear and how the risk you're taking and all, and just how most countries, to immigrate, you have to take a fucking little dinghy across what it looked like the Atlantic.
Yes.
It was rough waters. Yeah. They picked the worst fucking day to get out.
Did. But you probably don't have too many options when you're trying to flee from misery.
And that's the best horror films to me, is horror films that bring in that the element of what's really going on in the world, but then putting a supernatural spin on it or something like that too. But
that's the thing for me with horror. Like, the best type of horror to me that deal with severe trauma, and that's what this film did so well, is it used trauma to like propagate all of this just misery.
Yes.
And like, you don't even know why right away. Like, you have no idea like why these things are crawling in the wall. Initially, like you believe that, their daughter, like, it's so sad that she died, and then these people fleeing a country, just trying to live, trying to be normal people. And they keep saying over and over, we're good people. We're good people. Yeah. And I started catching on to that. Like, why are they so like, we're good people? I mean, I got it because, they're immigrants, and obviously 3 months in a holding facility.
Exactly.
That shit sucks, man. That would be miserable, living surrounded with hundreds of other, refugees.
Well, and you have, around the world kind of statements of, we don't want immigrants and all that. So you feel very unwanted. And they displayed that very well.
Very well.
And they showed really the two different kinds of like immigration. One person, Bull, just wanted to move on. He wanted to forget his past and everything. He wanted to leave his traditions, his cultures, everything behind.
When we see that, when he tries to sing the soccer chants and stuff at the bar, he's trying to incorporate himself into this new culture.
Yes, and then his wife she wanted to hold on to a lot of that stuff because it's her tradition and it's so cultural and it's your past and everything. So it showed that very well, of like the two different kinds of thinking and like just the kind of thought that immigrants have to go through to where like, they want to adapt, but you still want to hold on to, what makes your people.
Exactly.
But it's a very fucking difficult situation.
It is.
Very difficult. And a tough dynamic to tackle in film. But the way they did it and encompassed it with the horror elements, like you said, with like the ghost and the quote unquote daughter, very fucking well done.
Super well done.
Yeah.
And, and I know this has been thrown out there before, but especially with the child and stuff, there were moments where it was in I'm definitely not plagiarism here, but I mean, I could see elements of Jordan Peele as well. Yeah. Like with the mask, with running around, as we had brought up before. But it was just such a well done horror film. And I love the concept of having, these dead, the dead refugees that were coming over who died when the boat flipped over along with the daughter, or what we think is a daughter. They're all in the walls. To me, that was so incredibly creepy. Like just the way they were able to pull that off. Yeah. You would see eyeballs in the wall. You would see them scurrying away, and you'd hear pitter patters throughout the wall.
Well, then it'd be really dark, and you'd just get the light going across, and then you would see just fucking eyes in the wall. It'd be horrible. But I think it reminded me of Jordan Peele a lot too, because of just that the family element of it. You know, and Jordan Peele is both Get Out and what's the other Jordan Peele movie? Us. Both of those dealt heavily with, you know, the family dynamic and going, and one involved meeting a new family, and the other one was just, you know, meeting versions of yourself in family. But that's what really reminded me of the fucking Jordan Peele. And The Mask also did remind me of Pluto from Us, the fucking kid. Remind me a lot. But it is crazy. The director...
Directorial debut.
Yeah, Remi Weeks. Doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I could find... I don't know if it's a female, a man.
I don't know either. I actually have no idea. Like, a directorial debut, they did direct, you know, Fright Bites, which was a TV miniseries, 1 episode, and then 2 little short films. But wow, what a directorial debut this was.
Yes.
I mean, a phenomenal film all the way around. The storyline was great. The direction of the film was clear and concise. I keep going back to it, but they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
What surprised me a lot is I didn't think there was going to be a special effect throughout the entire film. The first hour is all just it's practical effects. You know, it's super simple fucking scares. Like it's just the camera work and the score and all that of him, you know, because it starts off almost fucking immediately. Yeah. As soon as they get into the house, and they play it out really well. And fucking what's his name? Terminator is in it. Matt Smith, the new Terminator from Genesis. He plays... I was surprised to see him. Because I thought this film was really... At first, I thought it was a really fucking small budget film. I didn't think I was going to see anyone that I recognized in it. But seeing Matt Smith, that's kind of a recognizable face. But yeah, you know, when he sets it up, you really think it might be the house at first.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, nobody wants this fucking house. Well, and then you find out it's kind of just a shithole.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably the reason.
That's probably
it's
why.
It's infested with fucking bugs. It's
roaches and everything.
It's in a horrible neighborhood where you have this fucking frightening neighbor.
That old lady.
You got to have one
unsettling.
One horribly frightening. But I love how they built that, and the entire time you're thinking, oh my god, it's the house, that old lady. But that old lady kind of just recognized that they were struggling. Mm-hmm. And now it's a neighborhood that like obviously gets a lot of immigrants, like immigrant housing. Yep.
And that was another thing too that I thought they portrayed so well was the isolation of these two. You really felt like they were isolated. You know, when Rael, the wife, went out, those men were harassing her.
Oh yeah,
you know they weren't friendly at all. They're like, oh, kids. Go back to Africa, kids, stuff like that. You know, just very rude. And so, like, you really got a sense of these two just being completely isolated. They feel like no one wants them there, and that's a really hard thing to deal with.
And you can see that is how you can get fucking really angry, you know, immigrants when they're just completely. And that's what it showed so well is that she isolated herself and she got darker and darker into her own thoughts, but he kind of went out into the public, but it was, you know, faking most of what, because he was when the sun goes down in that fucking house, you don't want to be up. You don't want to be doing construction.
No, you figured he would have learned that after the first night, you know, like stay in your room.
But yeah, it's that kind of thing where I was just waiting for the sun to go down because things just start fucking popping off when the sun goes down. Yeah. It is insane. And he goes a little fucking Amityville horror nuts.
I would say so.
Where he's burning all the shit.
Well, he's burning all the shit. He's destroying the walls.
And it's that just adds on to the fear because they're so scared because the entire premise is they had to leave South Sudan because it's civil war, and they build it up so well. It's so well done how they show that, how he explains there's 2 tribes where he's from and they're always at war. They're just killing each other constantly. So they had to leave in a big fucking hurry because that one tribe was killing all the rest of the tribe. You know, probably genocide.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so they had to fucking flee from the South Sudan, and but right when they get there, when they leave, they're in the facility, the holding facility, you know, for fucking 3 months. They give them all these goddamn roles. You can't get in trouble. You can't go get a job. What are they going to give them, $65 a week?
I think it was like $60 or $65 a week to live, to survive.
Yeah, and all this shit, possible? They don't have any clothing or anything like that, but they can't have another income. Or they'll immediately send them back. Yep. So all this shit you can't do wrong.
They're not allowed to have friends either.
You have so many fucking rules. Yeah, they pretty much tell them to stay in the house the entire time.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they're allowed to do.
So it's like, how do you even fucking integrate yourself when
in society, in
and,
this
but,
new
and
society.
then you're constantly walking on fucking eggshells because you're afraid they're going to send you back.
Right,
So it's
one
this
mistake and you're
constant
gone.
mental fucking gymnastics you got to go through.
is.
But yeah, so they were scared. So that really added on to when he started destroying the walls. I immediately thought, oh my god, dude, they're going to send this guy. This doesn't. It just looks like he's going insane. They don't see that there's fucking kids in the wall. And you can't explain that either.
Ghost refugees in the wall.
I love the scene when he goes and talks about when he goes to Matt Smith and he's going to talk about how he wants to move, but he's all cut up. His shirt's destroyed and all bloody and shit. He looks horrible.
Yeah.
Has a big cut on his hand, and everyone in the office is looking at him like he's fucking purple.
Well, and then they're getting mad because they're saying that house is bigger than the house that they live in.
Yeah.
And you see that there's resentment with these social workers.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there definitely is resentment because like they were like, you know what? You like this was their attitude. What you came over here, you have a bigger house than us and you're complaining about it.
And they just sprinkled in, you know, the kind of the economy and whatnot, and how there's unemployment, and how Matt Smith, he said his character's name, I can't fucking remember, Mark.
Matt,
just call him Matt.
It's so generic. Why even change it?
But yeah, his character Mark, he talks about how he was a banker also, but he lost his job, so now he has to do, you know, this fucking social work, getting paid, and we know those people get paid fucking nothing from Joker. Way overworked.
Great film.
Yeah, way overworked and just way underpaid. And that's fucking absolutely true. Social workers, you know, get paid horrible and very stressful job. But yeah, so he had I love how they displayed that to where he was really fucking, they both had to be so damn cautious because getting sent back to fucking South Sudan is pretty much a death sentence.
Yes.
It's
especially
crazy.
during this time.
It's crazy that they would just fucking send them back. Yeah. But
there's something I got to talk about here. I want to talk about the visuals, the cinematography. I thought was phenomenal in this movie. I thought the dream sequences were just so beautiful.
Yeah.
In particular, and I won't give away too much, but the dining room table scene where he's eating, and then it's just a slow zoom out, and then the wall's gone, and now he's like in this river.
Yeah,
or
it's
not
like
river, just like an ocean, just like a very stagnant.
It looks
body of
like
water.
it looks like an Infinity War when he kills, and that was supposed to be all blood, and then they had to change it because it was too dark. But that's what it kind of looked like. But yeah, that's like one of the few special effects that they have throughout the entire film. That's like,
But it
guarantee
looked
him
really
the majority.
good.
Oh, it looked amazing.
And the practical effects, though, of the actual like zombie dead people coming
rising
up looked
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. And just the creepiness of when that was happening, and he just like started eating really fucking fast. And you can hear like the
click,
metal.
click, click,
Yeah,
click,
that
yeah.
always fucking creeps me out for some
Yeah,
reason.
I don't know why. Same, it does. I think it's just like an uneasy eerie sound.
And just he was eating in such an unnatural fucking, like he was eating like he was being force fed, so he was just fucking clinking in. Kind of Ari Aster
yes,
kind of weird bizarreness in my mind. But yeah, that scene was so fucking beautiful. And how the wall tore away.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's
so
good,
well
man.
done.
It is. It was a beautiful sequence.
That's why I was so shocked by this film, just how fucking good it was, and how I didn't see it on Netflix's top 10 or
nothing. I know it blows me away because like
this is one of the best films of the year.
Oh, unquestionably one of the best films of the year, and we always talk about it on this podcast. We have to have better horror films.
Yeah,
you want to talk about this? This is the best horror film so far of this year.
It's very
this film
very
is like
good,
top notch.
It has an amazing twist.
Yes, an amazing twist
that
too.
you do not see. I mean, you kind of
there are hints of it, and you see it in hindsight. But when it happened, I was like,
2020,
fuck.
you see all the fucking hits, but you have no idea until he fucking
right.
But yeah, the whole time there's just a strangeness that you know something is off. I mean, obviously their daughter died, but you know something's off by it, by how he's acting and whatnot.
Well, in the dialogue too, in hindsight, going back, when he says, "Oh, well, I can't wait to just start our own family."
Yeah, you're like, what the?
Right? You just lost your daughter.
You had a family.
Yeah. What do you mean? I mean, I guess the guy's really just moving on.
I know this guy, but that's what you think because it's very character-esque because you see throughout the entire thing that he is willing to move on from everything.
Yes.
Just because he wants a better life for his family, and he knows that they don't have any life, and there's no hope of them going back to South Sudan. But in Rael's mind, in the back of her head, you know, she kind of hopes that one day maybe she'll go back. But she's also has heavy trauma to where maybe she's not even recognizing that no one's there anymore.
Right.
That she still thinks her family's there and whatnot. Later, we get revealed that everyone that she knows got wiped out.
And she was the only one to survive that massacre.
Yeah,
from
and it's
hiding
done
in
in
a
such
little
a
cabinet.
beautiful way. It's shot so done where you really, even that's a twist to where you're like, she's going there and you're like, oh my God, why did she leave? You're like, man, these women are great. And then I love the element of they kind of force or form this trauma into a physical being. Because, tribes and whatnot, they don't really have words for, trauma and PTSD. They use them, they like make up a demon or something. But they have this, from all this trauma, a demon actually fucking manifests. And the demon looked great.
The Night Witch is what they call it.
Yeah.
I loved the use of the Night Witch, though, because anytime it was brought up throughout the film until the very end, obviously, it was from a distance, and you saw those evil, menacing eyes, and you could just barely make out the Night Witch's figure. That shit terrifies me. Yeah. I love that because that's how I dream. Like when I have nightmares, that's how I dream. I dream of a far distant figure that you can just see the outline of with these just menacing evil eyes.
But this all this Night Witch was their trauma and their depression and their anxiety all formed and manifest into a human being in their mind. But something like when you're depressed or something, but this Night Witch was constantly telling them the only escape they'll get is to kill themselves. Yep. And it's just like, the voice in your head when you're depressed, telling you. But I love that when he kept handing him the butcher knife and like to save her, you gotta, 'cause that's what isolation does to you. You think the only way to help people around you is, to end your own life. But I love that they manifest that into an actual being, and it looked fucking cool.
It looked really
horrifying.
Cool. It was
kind of reminded me of Black Phillip from The Witch, as to where you barely saw
That's
him,
a perfect
but he was just constantly tempting them with taking their own lives. Just the easy
voice
way out.
Too was great. The voice work, whoever the actor was who voiced the Night Witch, did a phenomenal job as well. And I love the representation too of Niall slitting the throat at the end of the Night Witch. I mean, we're getting into spoils, but we're almost 25 minutes in. So.
Yeah.
But I do love that at the end too, because it's like it's killing that demon.
It showed her not abandoning him.
Yeah.
And sticking with him and
because
fighting this demon off with him.
Yeah, the Night Witch was was going to leave or kill him too, because the Night Witch was telling her, you need to kill him in order to bring her back. So.
And, love the Night Witch. Yeah. Love the Night Witch. It's going to end up being one of my favorite characters of this year.
Hey.
Yeah, I liked and they like you said, they use that whole Night Witch just the perfect amount. He's maybe has 2 minutes of screen time tops. Very, very little. And they show him like Black Phillip to where he's mostly in the shadows the most of the time. Because really he's just in your fucking head.
Right.
But love that. Love the pacing on this film. That's really important in a horror film we talk about all the time. But the pacing was so good. There was never a dull moment.
Anyone know why?
It builds and builds and builds.
Because this film was 93 minutes. Exactly where a horror film like this has to be.
Yeah.
It was.
But this film went by so fast, it felt like it was like 30 minutes long. Yeah. Like, I couldn't even believe it was over when it was over. But, I can't even believe it's 130 minutes long. That even seems like it was... Because it just went by
93 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, an hour and 30.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
An hour and a half.
You said 130 minutes.
I was like,
no.
That'd be really long. But yeah, it didn't even seem like an hour and a half went by the time I was done watching it. It just goes by so, especially the third act, which usually the third act is what suffers in any horror film, in any movie in general. But this third act is so fucking strong. And it goes, once they start doing the flashbacks, and then get to the big fucking climax with the Night Witch and everything, that's like the last 30 minutes, and it goes by fucking quick.
Well, dude, like it was you're so right. The third act was, and that is a lot of the times where horror films suffer. But man, that third act was gut wrenching.
Yeah, it was
gut wrenching.
You're really not sure how it's gonna end.
No, when you find out, Naya, what's her name? Nyagok, the child. when you find out that whole development with the child, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Are you fucking? And then the shot where she's running, the mom's running behind the bus.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like your heart just.
Yeah, the whole last 30 minutes is just some of the most depressing despair that you will fucking. It just takes your soul out of your body.
It does, yeah.
But it actually, for movies like this, it surprisingly has a good ending.
It does.
Which that I could have definitely seen this film, being in Ari Aster as to where it ends just, in a very dark, dark way. I really did think that he was maybe going to end up killing himself.
That's what I thought
felt
too,
for
honestly.
sure at least one of them was going to have to. But
quote unquote sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, for the Night Witch. Yes. But no, it's a great ending.
This film was, and this is what blows my mind too, because you figured you would have heard more about this film throughout the year. This film was released at Sundance Film Festival back in January 27th of 2020. And how in the hell was this movie not talked about more widely?
I know.
That's crazy. Something that just like honestly blows my mind. It was like everyone at Sundance, like, oh, hush, hush until this movie comes out.
I don't know.
Makes no sense. You figure people would have been raving about
probably
this
because
film.
no one's making money on it. Yeah. So, I mean, Sundance, even though it's very indie, I'm sure there's a lot of fucking influence behind it, films that get talked about or not. But yeah, this film, surprisingly, I didn't even know until after I watched it, but holds 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Which is very rare.
Very impressive.
That means everyone that saw this film said it was very good. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a single person that disliked this film. But I
have to say, probably guaranteed the highest rated horror film on Rotten Tomato.
Oh yeah, well there's other horror films. There's other horror films.
It's an obvious. Kind of being funny.
Yeah, you're not gonna get 101, I guess, but it's tied with a bunch of other movies. But it's. If you haven't seen it, go and fucking watch it.
It's absolutely. It is so worth your time.
And it's the perfect, even though it was filmed earlier, it's the perfect kind of COVID film where it was all filmed in that one house.
Very true.
So they leave that house, twice?
Yeah, that's it. And those are quick little scenes too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But only when he goes to the bar, which was a weird scene where the guy was just like standing outside. Hey, you an immigrant? Get in here. Like he's just waiting.
Let me buy you a beer.
And he gives him like a basket of things.
Yeah,
right?
That was nice of him.
He's just waiting for people that look mildly outside. Like, no, I've lived here all my life. Thanks for asking. But that guy just pulled him in. That guy was fucking nice.
Yeah, he was. The only nice guy in the film.
That was the thing is that Bull had only good interactions. But Rael, who was already hesitant, only awful interactions, unfortunately. But great film. Would you recommend it to people?
Highly recommended. You have to check this out. If you're a horror fan, this is a film you absolutely have to see.
I think just a fan of film in general. That's the kind of one that this is one that just encompasses everything.
Yeah, it really does. Alrighty, well, that is our review for His House. If you guys like what you're seeing here and you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you want to find our podcast in audio format, you can find that on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Go check out our merch store. You can find that link in the description below if you're on a podcast format or a YouTube format. And then go follow our social medias, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.